Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to some more F1 My Team content here today. And this is the British Grand Prix. My home race, my teammate George Russell's home race, and also the team's home race. So, big pressure, and I'm looking forward to it. Having said that, it's the AI's strongest track of the entire game, so it's going to be a real challenge. You know, the AI are so rapid around Silverstone in this year's game, it's unbelievable. So if there's going to be a race where we're going to be under pressure and having a huge challenge, it's going to be this one. So I'm looking forward to it. But guys, real quick, going to plug out the way. If you missed the previous episode, guys, at Austria, then go check it out, guys. I'll leave a link up in the top right hand corner of your screen. And with that said, guys, if you're going to enjoy today's episode, slap a like on it, subscribe if you're new, and let's get things underway. Here we go then, back on the laptop and looking at the weather forecast this weekend, which there is no rain expected for at Silverstone, which is great. We also bring 2 minor upgrades to the car this weekend, which means we take a small step away from Mercedes and actually start to pull away a little bit. A few upgrades in the midfield for McLaren, Alfa Romeo, Renault, also Ferrari bringing some upgrades as well. So Mercedes again struggling to bring upgrades this season like they have for most of the year. And I wouldn't say it's hugely surprising, but either way, Mercedes not quite on it yet in terms of development. With that said though, we move into practice and straight away I could tell the pace of the AI they were pretty quick. You know, I was doing some pretty solid laps. Like the car felt great. I was in a really good groove. I recently did a league race here on Sunday night, so I was pretty dialed in, and that helped quite a lot. But even then, I just wasn't on the pace compared to what the AI can do. After practice, though, we managed to go quickest of all on the soft tyres, but not by much, by about half a second over Charles Leclerc, of all people, which was quite surprising. We scored around about 1,100 points after practice for R&D purposes, which is great, and some very marginal gains in terms of the team acclaim. But with that said, we moved to qualifying, and this is going to be one hell of a session, guys. The cars are so quick around here. It's unbelievable, and it's going to be really competitive. You know, ourselves versus the 110 difficulty AI, and like I said, this is their strongest track of the whole year, so I'm expecting them to do some pretty ridiculous stuff. So we move on to the end of my first time lap in qualifying, and it was actually a really good first lap, you know, a really good banker, and setting the tone for what's about to happen. So making our way through the final couple of corners here, a little bit of traffic up ahead, but that's not going to affect us as we cross the line and set a 21.2, which is really solid, and only go P8, which was already a bit of a warning sign. We then got pushed down to P13, and we move on to my second time lap. Now, we got off to a good start here. I was 3/10 up, but I lost a lot of time through there. Turn 4, I actually nailed the first sector, but turn 4 let me down a little bit, and in the end we're only a 10th up in the first sector, but we're still improving, which is important. And you know, like I said, I'm currently P13, so we need to find a bit more. And by the end of sector 2, you can see here I absolutely nailed the exit through the S's and onto the hangar straight. We're nearly 2/10 up, and so far it's looking like a stronger lap. We now make our way up towards Stowe, throwing the car in, couple of downshifts, picking up the exit speed, and then making our way down towards the Veloce chicane. Hard on the brakes, third gear, pick up your inside apex, flip the car right, and then try and get the power on as soon as possible. And running up to the line, we're going to improve by about 0.3 of a second, and we move up to P9. So a good lap, back inside the top 10, and that is actually better than I expected. And then eventually move on to my best lap in qualifying, and currently we sit in P10. Can we get any higher than this? We're about to find out. Let's go for a full lap of Silverstone, a lap which I will admit was pretty damn solid. And there we go, across the line. We improved by about a tenth and a half, and we move up to P8. So a bit of an improvement, not a huge one, but that was all I had in the tank. You know, the car had no more pace. I tried my best, but we just couldn't get any more out of it. So, you know what, it is where it is. I'm not going to complain. I'll take it. And Russell on pole by a tenth of a second. The only man in the 1 minute 19s. Do you have any idea how quick you have to go to get a 1:19 around Silverstone? Ridiculous lap times. The cars are so quick. In the end, we finish in P9, just ahead of Lando Norris, and 8 tenths off my teammate, which is a huge gap. But again, it's the AI special track, this one, so it is what it is. I'm actually quite happy with that. I expected to be outside the top 10, so all things considered, that's a strong quality from us. But now we're going to move into a quick post-qualifying interview.
You lost to your teammate today. Was it just not your day?
Well, I think a bit of both, but George deserved it today. He was absolutely fantastic, to be honest.
Your teammate is at home today. The crowd really appreciated it, didn't they?
I hope so. I mean, you know, we've got a good set of fans here, and hopefully they'll be supporting both of us in the race tomorrow.
Appreciate your time.
And finally, after qualifying, we scored just the 1 point compared to Hamilton's 2, but that 1 point is going to be enough to wrap up and finish off the rivalry, so we win it quite comfortably over the 7-time world champion, and then some small gains again on the acclaim. Either way, guys, that is going to be it for qualifying. We're now going to move into the race for my home Grand Prix, for the British Grand Prix here at Silverstone.
We return once again then to the home of British motorsport and the birthplace of the Formula One World Championship. It's race day here at Silverstone, and it's time for the British Grand Prix. With good opportunities to overtake at the end of the Wellington and Hangar Straights, there's a lot of potential for close action around the 3.6 miles of the Silverstone circuit. With 18 corners and average lap speeds of around 145 miles per hour, it's also one of the longest and quickest circuits on the calendar. Anthony Davidson joins me again for the race today. Let's talk about Martinez. They've got a really good lead in the championship going into this weekend, so it feels to me that they've got one hand on the trophy.
Certainly there are worse positions to be in, but it's vital they don't let complacency creep in. As soon as you let yourself think it's over before it actually is, that's where everything can and often will go wrong.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. George Russell did very well in qualifying yesterday and will start today's race from pole position. And Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Albon, Leclerc, Daniel Kvyat and Bottas, Martinez, Norris, Verstappen and Pierre Gasly, Vettel, Magnussen, Esteban Ocon and Sainz, Giovinazzi, Perez, Nick de Vries and Lance Stroll, Aitken, Grosjean, Latifi and Mick Schumacher. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
It's time for the British Grand Prix, and I can't lie, guys, we're going to have to hope for the best around here. Damage limitation is going to be so important. We may have the best car on the grid, but this track is so difficult when it comes to AI around here. They're so strong. The qualifying was perfect. I nailed my lap, and it was only good enough for P9, and I was a full second off my teammate. So it's going to be a tricky one. This is one of those rare tracks where even in the race, the AI don't really lose that much pace like they normally do compared to qualifying. So it's going to be difficult. I think, to be honest with you, we're starting P7, benefiting from grid penalties. If we finish the race in P7, that would be a good result for me. I'd be really happy with that. So let's see how it goes. We're starting, of course, on the soft tyres that we qualified on as we're forced onto that tyre. And we're then going to move on to medium. So a very straightforward one-stop strategy. No rain expected. And I've overfueled the car by a lap because I feel like we're going to need a lot of fuel to defend this race. I think I'm going to be doing a lot of defending and not a lot of attacking. So with that in mind, we're going to try and do our best. Hopefully it's a fun one, and I'm kind of hoping really I'll get surprised in a good way because I am bracing myself for a very tough race. Right, here we go then. Into lean revs. We're going to try and get the start absolutely on point here. Lights out and away we go. Didn't really control the revs that well, but we're underway anyways. Looks like we've got away reasonably well. We're going to go to the outside here into turn 1. Oh, yes. Making that work beautifully as we get Kvyat and Bottas around the outside of turn 1. Straight up into P5. exactly the start we needed, as that's going to help us just, you know, survive a bit longer in these higher positions. Russell has completely just bolted up front. He's going to start opening up a gap already, I feel like. So hopefully he can just run away with it here today and secure maximum points for the team. We've got Hamilton in P2 chasing him, and then we've got Alex Albon again, and it's the highest performing Red Bull in P3. So this is going to be interesting. At the minute I'm on the back foot. I feel like I'm lacking a bit of pace. I've got the AlphaTauri Kvyat here looking for a move. He's got a lot of straight line speed. Luckily, I'm able to just about hold on as we run a bit wide there through Copse. The AI run full power here for the first few laps of the race, so it's going to be really hard to keep on their pace. I can only hope that once lap 3 comes around, we've still got DRS on Leclerc in front, but at the minute we're already dropping back here. This is going to be a really tough one for us, and we're going to have to brace ourselves for the worst. Looks like Kvyat will not challenge me, so let's try and focus on trying to be strong through the corners. That's the only way I can improve. The AI are extremely overpowered in straight line speed and acceleration around here. That's their main strength, so we're going to try and throw the car around the corners and do our best as we head on to lap 2 then. So far so good. We've held on to P5, so good stuff. You know, getting those extra 2 places off the line really helped, and now we're going to see if we can hang on to these guys without overheating our tyres. Russell absolutely flying up front. Hamilton actually being put under pressure by Albon, and is not that comfortable in P2.
DRS will be enabled this lap. You can use it when within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Bit of a gap starting to form behind Bottas. I believe Verstappen is just outside of a second, so there could be a bit of a 7-car breakaway out front here, which is good. We need this separation to happen. If it's a constant DRS train, it's going to be a tough race for us, so we need separation. And then I'm just about hanging on to Leclerc's DRS here, so we're going to try and see if I can focus and stay within a second heading into the next DRS zone. We're hanging on. Purple sector 3, which is pretty decent from us, and I've got DRS on Leclerc quite comfortably. I had a really strong middle sector for my standards, and that got me back in the mix. At some point, either Hamilton or Albon will run out of ERS deployment from attacking or defending, and they'll become vulnerable, so that's when we'll get a chance to potentially pass them. ERS super efficient around here, which is really helping me out, because in past seasons, the ERS is not so efficient, so what happens is you end up draining all of your ERS and you're just a sitting duck. But luckily, because of how good our car is, I'm able to actually maintain a pace and defend, because I've just got so much ERS regeneration, and I've got so much extra charge, so I'm able to actually use a lot of it and remain very competitive. So a very key difference to past seasons, I have to say. That's really helping us out so far, and I'm actually tempted to start putting a move on these guys ahead now as we get a bit closer here. Here we go then, Albon on Hamilton. We've seen this end in tears before. Let's see how it ends this time. We've got Leclerc looking for a move just behind them. Looks like Alex will get the move and will jump the Mercedes. So we're all going to slot into a bit of a train here. I'm going to use the engine mode. I feel like I could challenge Leclerc through here. If I can get the run through the first corner, which we do. We know the Ferrari's not great on the straight. Down the inside, into turn 3. There it is. Nice little move. Kvyat actually gets through as well. Well, he's side by side with Leclerc. This is our chance actually to just eke out a bit of a gap here. Great timing on the overtake. That was really good from us. So we're now P4 in this race. And that's what we've got to do. Try and be clever with our racing IQ. And just try and not go for any rash moves. Manage the fuel and the ERS perfectly. And just try and go forward. Hamilton shouldn't have much ERS charge left. And neither should Albon. So we should have a chance here. I wonder if we could go for the same move 2 laps in a row. Struggling to get a bit of traction down there, which isn't going to help. I might just not be able to make the move now because of that. Leclerc actually trying to close in on me here, but she's not going to get the run on me through there. It does feel like Hamilton's a bit low on energy. He's a bit slow on the straight, which is rare for a Mercedes car, especially a works Mercedes. So let's see if we can find something here. You don't really want to be at the front of the train either, because it's really hard to pull away. You need to time and overtake perfectly and hope that the car you overtake falls into a bit of a battle. Here goes Lewis. Re-overtake on Albon. I'm using a lot of ERS to try and close the gap because I want to be close for when this all really kicks off. There's the final chicane. Hamilton to the outside. Albon trying to hang on, but we're going to use that little bit of an overtake from Hamilton to squeeze past and get ahead of Albon, and now we're up to P3. Again, just being clever with the overtaking and waiting for the opportunity. almost like boxing, basically. I'm counter punching. I'm not taking the first shot. I'm going to let my opponents take the shot for me, and I'll try and respond. So Hamilton now back in front. He's going to be very low in the RS now, surely. So we may have a chance of getting by here. Look at the speed already, starting to catch him on the straight. The back end gets so loose through there. I'm really like just trying to feather the steering wheel and not be too aggressive. Look at the speed and the closing distance here on Hamilton. I've got to say, that was incredible. You can definitely see Lewis is struggling for a bit of straight line speed at the minute, so we're going to keep that in mind. And so we may have a chance of getting by here. Russell just racing away out front. He's chilling. Big chilling here today. Let's try and put some pressure on the 7-time champ and try and find a way through. To be fair, this could be the lap if I nail this section. Let's see how close I get. Very slight lock up, but that's okay. We've done a good job through that corner. What exit did we get out of here? That's not bad, but Hamilton just gets enough on the acceleration there that there's not enough straight for me to really close in. I've just noticed there's a big battle behind, and Kvyat's dropped off. He's out of the RS range now, so it's just Leclerc hanging in there. So Albon's been swirled up by the pack. So that's good to know. We've got a bit of a 3-car breakaway here. Myself, Hamilton and Leclerc, which is good in terms of solidifying a podium finish. Made a bit of a mess of that. Bit of a shame I was on the back of Hamilton there quite nicely. Yeah, pit stops are going to be key in this race. Bit of a shame that I messed that up though, because I was really close to Lewis. I could have maybe really challenged through here, but we're going to have to just be patient. It's going to happen on the hangar straight, which is the back straight. That's where I seem to have a lot of straight line speed over him. The closing speed I have is just unbelievable. Like, we get so much momentum. It's just, I've got to try and get closer through the S's to really be on the back of him as we exit the final S, so we can get him on the hangar straight. We're actually really catching Russell here, so Hamilton is probably running full power, so at some point he will run out of energy because he's running at a very strong pace here. Personal best. And I'm a bit closer to Lewis actually this time through here. Maybe this could be the one. Let's see. A bit of a lock up, that's going to ruin it. Pushed a bit too much on the brakes. Yeah, that's not going to happen unfortunately. I think Hamilton's too far ahead. This straight is not long enough, which is a real shame. Okay, we're a bit closer this time. If I can get this last one now. I've got a bit of understeer through there. Onto the grass.
Be careful, we think you're going to start losing some tyre grip around now.
We're closing, but we just run out of straight. I just can't get those S's right. Russell pits, interestingly, and so does Hamilton. Leclerc pits as well, so we're out solo here.
George is in the pits. George in the pits.
Let's have a strong in lap. Let's try and push. There might be.
This lap, push hard on the in lap.
Yep, there might be a bit of traffic hold up for Hamilton on the lollipop, being in the Mercedes garage, of course. So let's try and push it. Okay, decent in lap. Considering we had no DRS, I'm only 2/10 off my personal best. Into the pit lane we go. Get it all slowed down. And there we go. I'm going to hold it in second gear so we save a bit of fuel in the pits, hopefully. Well, this is going to be a crucial phase of the race. Bottas pits along with us, so does Verstappen and Sebastian Vettel, and so will Kevin Magnussen. So all the guys on soft tyres are going to bail into the pits. Again, that Mercedes garage is risky because you can get held up quite easily because all the traffic is coming through in the case of Lewis Hamilton. Mediums for us. Here we go.
Complete, go now.
2.7, not the best stop. When we needed a quick stop, the team kind of let me down. Bit of a shame. Here comes Russell, and then Hamilton shouldn't be too far behind.
Up to speed now. Let's get some heat into those tyres.
Look at that, we're well clear of Hamilton, and Hamilton's on the hard tyres. Hamilton's behind us. He's just going to get DRS, I think, but he's on the hards, and that's where he's obviously lost time in the pit phase because he was ahead of us, and my lap wasn't, you know, incredible by any means, but that's what happened. I'm guessing Hamilton got held by the lollipop. So let's pull away while we can. We've got a chance of breaking DRS on the Mercedes, which would be great. There we go, we've done it. We've got over a second gap to Lewis, and we've got DRS in the car ahead of Jack Aitken. So at the minute, running in a 1-2. Obviously Leclerc is going to probably pass Lewis now and try and challenge me in the Ferrari, but crucially we've got that 1 second gap that we need for DRS clearance. Now we're going to see what kind of pace I have in clean air without DRS assistance, because that's going to be the real test now. Luckily, it's Leclerc hunting me down and not Hamilton or Bottas or Albon or Verstappen on medium tyres, so we could be okay here actually, and this is genuinely surprising. If we secure this result, I'll be very impressed. Oh, something's happened. Luckily, it's behind us, not in front, so Russell's okay. We'll get confirmation on that soon. Bottas, oh my goodness me, Mercedes is really just unreliable this season. That's not good for them. I'm trying to save this last bit of fuel, and I'm trying to use ERS instead, just to make sure we save a bit. Luckily, no virtual safety car. That would absolutely ruin my race because the AI I wouldn't be able to shake them off on the restart. You know, we've got this clearance that I need, so hopefully I can use it to stay ahead. Leclerc is slightly quicker than me, it seems, in certain areas, so we're just about holding this 1.5 second gap. Kvyat, new fastest lap. Oh my goodness me, he's flying. Kvyat up to P3, he passes Leclerc. This is interesting, this one. Kvyat seems to be absolutely flying in the AlphaTauri, and they've shown some great form this season. You know, on the one-off races here and there, they just seem to fly. We set a personal best to kind of respond to that a little bit, but Kvyat is the man on the move at the minute. Another personal best. I don't really have much more pace in this. Luckily though, Kvyat doesn't seem to be as quick when he doesn't have DRS assistance, and actually Leclerc is looking to re-challenge, so hopefully those two battle it out for the rest of the race and we can just kind of chill in P2 here. Lap traffic, hopefully no issues here. I need to lose minimal time. Let's see what the Haas does. Oh dear, that's not going to help. Bit too brave on the brakes there. Come on Haas, get out of the way, son. Let's go. There we go. Happy days. Thank you very much. That's going to give Kvyat DRS though, which is not good. There we go, Leclerc re-overtakes. Hopefully they go side by side for a little bit, but doesn't seem to be the case. They're just leapfrogging each other, which is bad news for me. Ooh, they're swapping places again, but Leclerc holds on for now. I just need him to stay side by side for like 3 corners. That will just cost him like a full second. That will take the pressure off me completely. Another swap as Kvyat tries to re-challenge. Okay. I think they're both side by side now. Yeah, that's what we want. There it is. That's the key moment of the race. You'll start to see the delta now really go up, hopefully. They're still battling. This is perfect. I'm running out of fuel now, so this is great timing for me. I think they're still going at it. Looks like Kvyat has got the position. That's okay. Gap has gone up now to 2.6. We can relax a little bit. I've been sweating so much to try and keep the pace up. I've been so consistent, and I've been on the limit every single lap. Well, this is my best lap of the race, my personal best. 23.1. I think we've matched the fastest lap with that lap, but that's everything I've got in the tank. That's all we've got. Hopefully that should be enough now to cover me off from the cars behind. Even if they go for a late last couple lap push, which they always do, because they're coded to go for the fastest lap in the last 2-3 laps of the race, we should be covered now. There we go, the AI now starting to push. Russell, new fastest lap. Kvyat has taken 6/10 out of my lead on this lap, so 2 laps to go. Gap is 2 seconds. It's going to go down to the wire, this one. I'm trying to hang on, but the AI's response now, their pace is so strong. 22.3 from Russell. That pace is ridiculous. I'm pretty much matching my personal best here to try and put the last bit of pace on that I can. I think we should be okay now. Last lap. Here we go then. Russell absolutely dominates here today. These last few laps he's really pushed and got a gap out, I've got to say. We're on for a personal best at the moment, trying to squeeze everything out of the car. Probably won't get the fastest lap anyway, but I want to push anyways. Russell 21.8. My God, what a lap from Russell. That is unbelievable. But we come home for 2nd place. I'll take that.
Yes, 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 we're on the podium. Good job this weekend. Great drive. Thank you.
Well, they've done a brilliant job, I must say, under some intense pressure to take a well-earned victory here at the British Grand Prix. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
A show-stopping performance from the three drivers approaching the podium right now. It's been an interesting Grand Prix, that's for sure.
Well then guys, there we go, the race is done, and to be fair, it was a fairly routine race weekend. Russell picks up the win and the fastest lap, so he scores maximum points this weekend and actually does the I believe it's the triple crown, or not the triple crown, the hat trick, or the Grand Slam I think it is. Yeah, the Grand Slam, that's the one. I couldn't get there, but I got there in the end. So yeah, pole, fastest lap and race win for Georgie Boy, and we finish in second place. You can see the fastest laps. That's kind of an indication of our pace in the sense that how strong the AI are around here. So my fastest lap was actually only just good enough to get around the top 10. You know, got strong on a 22.9. So my actual fastest lap, which was really quick and felt perfect, was only good enough for 10th or 11th, you know, in terms of overall fastest lap. So that goes to show, you know, what we've done this race, and it was all about being clever. You know, a really like 200 IQ race where you let the others take themselves out of the way for you, and you just try and, you know, just swoop in there and try and make those moves when it really matters. And I'm really happy with that. That's one of my stronger races, if not maybe my strongest race of the season so far, because I've done everything perfectly. But looking further down, we've got Kvyat on the podium, P3, great result from him ahead of Charles Leclerc. Hamilton only P5 for Mercedes, that would be disappointing for him and the team. Verstappen ahead of Albon, and Alex really fell down the order, to be fair. I think he may have got wing damage possibly, because he was in the mix for the podium. Sebastian Vettel 8th for Ferrari ahead of Gasly and Magnussen, and then missing out the points we have Norris, Stroll, Perez, Sainz, Ocon, Giovinazzi, Aitken, De Vries, Schumacher, Latifi and Grosjean, with Bottas the only retirement from the race. Looking at the driver standings, we are 85 points clear at the top of the table, and Russell does cut down a lead slightly, but still things are looking really good as we head to the second half of the season. Hamilton overtakes Bottas, and yeah, overall we're looking very strong, and it's a 2x2, so you know, 2 97 cars, 2 Red Bulls, 2 Mercedes cars, and there's a bit of a good scrap there between AlphaTauri and Ferrari, and you can see in the constructor standings we are very clear, you know, broad daylight between ourselves and Red Bull Racing, and we are comfortable in this championship. Guys, that's it for the race here today at Silverstone. We're now going to move into the laptop.
Who would you say is your biggest rival at the moment?
I'm not sure. I think it's a tricky one to say, but I think the biggest rival is always your teammate, to be honest, and you always want to try and beat him. Outside of that, again, Lewis Hamilton is definitely the measuring stick when it comes to Formula 1.
How good does it feel to have both cars in your team take the top spots?
I mean, it's huge, especially this being, you know, a home race, both for myself and for George and for the team. You know, we've worked hard for this, and I'm really, really happy about it.
You gained a lot of positions during the race, didn't you?
I did. I had a really strong race, actually. Surprisingly strong. You know, historically I've struggled around here, but the car was great, and to be fair, the engine was really good. The power advantage was insane.
How do you feel after your teammates' victory? Are you happy for them, or do you wish it were you?
No, I'm very happy, you know, for George. Obviously, I wish it was me, but of course I'm happy for them, you know. George deserves this.
Great. Well, that's everything.
Well, after the race, we have a quick look at the team acclaim before the new rivalry with Hamilton gets underway once again, as we won the previous one. And some nice acclaim there for George, to be fair. We then move over to cash bonuses, and once again, it's a full payout from all of our sponsors, and 1.85 million goes straight back into the pot. And also, no damage deductions, which is awesome. So, a really, really good weekend in the end, and maximum points for us, which is absolutely ideal for us as a team. We've got another 10-day turnaround in terms of getting more upgrades onto the car for the next race in Hungary. So we're going to go ahead and do some upgrades. First of all, we're going to do activities now. Simulator training for George Russell is going to be important to hopefully improve his pace. And then elsewhere, looking at other options, you know, we could do a few of these things to improve team acclaim, which I'm absolutely going to throw on and do anyways, as it's totally worth it. And we're going to do a little bit of chassis team building as well right at the end. We then move over to the R&D graph, and we're comfortably out front, and you know, the leading team But we're going to, you know, keep pushing. The development doesn't stop. I want to try and extend our lead, so we're going to go ahead and purchase this major upgrade for the DRS, maximum slot gap. We'll get that on the car. That should arrive after the Hungarian Grand Prix. And power-wise, we're doing okay with the engine. I mean, we pretty much maxed it out anyways. We might try and go for an upgrade in the next episode. Either way, guys, that's going to be it for the upgrades, and we can now skip ahead to the next race in Hungary. And with that done, guys, we can now chill, relax, and prepare for yet another race. Round 13 in Hungary will be the next episode, guys, as we kick off the final few races of the European season. And guys, if you enjoyed today's episode, securing the 1-2 finish for the team, then smash the like button. Let's try and hit 900 likes, guys, for today's video. It really helps me out. And subscribe for more content like this, guys. Once again, the plug, as always, I'm chasing 55k by the end of the year, so any help would be massively appreciated. So if you're new to the channel and you're still watching up until this point, if you could go ahead and subscribe, that would really mean a lot to me. But guys, check out the 2 videos on your screen in the meantime, and thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one for the Hungarian Grand Prix. But until then, take care, and it's goodbye from me.